Alright, hopefully a semi-quick response video. Nick the Modern Mystic is saying he's going to be making a solutions video, and so he did a video prefacing his definition of the problem, and it was a little bit inspecific, let's say, or not concise. So I will try to make it simple and challenge him, maybe in his solution, to deal with what I say is the real problem here. So I'm going to draw this, maybe not too good a diagram, but here we go anyway. So let's say you have these commodities things. So we'll just call them C for commodity. And I'm going to call one of those things like the Mississippi River, right? So let's just say that's a thing you can own. But that would be like IBM stock or General Motors, or, well, bad example, of course, now. But anyway, they all got it, they all made some money on the deal. But anyway, these are things that can be owned, things that produce an income just because you own them, okay? This is the industrial complex. Maybe we'll just call it that. IC, industrial complex. Same thing, though, commodities, things you can own, stuff you can own that makes money, like a business or a thing or a house or something that makes money. Alright, so ownership will glean you a profit. So the owners are sitting on this stuff, and it makes them money. So their stuff pile, we'll call it, gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. Time is the key factor here, so put time down here. Time, time passes and they make more money. And so what do they do with this? They got this thing now. We got this thing called surplus. So we just put an S on it. So now it's surplus. It's that they can't use it. It's just held over wealth, and it can be in the form of all kinds of things. But this is they're basically taxing through this ownership. So like a government almost, they're able to tax commerce and glean a profit off of it. So it's essentially a tax, though. Let's just call it what it is. Or interest. I mean, interest and tax is basically the same thing. So they're going to tax this value to create this profit, and they just keep building it. It'll just keep piling on. It'll keep piling on and piling on. So they have this extra stuff now, and the racket they've got going now is that now they can lend this stuff out. So now they've got not only this thing generating income, their ownership of the Mississippi River, but now they can lend this money out at interest, so they get a percentage back, plus the original principal they get back by converting this stuff. Sorry, this is really a hard way to write, into IOUs. Now, so once they've converted the stuff into IOUs, sent it out there, so it just like this thing, just like this business or this river, all of a sudden this stuff pile is creating income too now. Now it's an income generator, even though it doesn't do anything. It's just stuff. It doesn't produce anything. Nobody travels down it. Nobody's made more efficient by it. But it's going to keep generating money. Money will keep coming in, and they're still owed the original stuff through the IOU. So now they have not only the river producing income, but now they have the stuff producing income, and now the stuff pile grows even bigger. Alright, so that's the problem in our economy. And now they've had this loans. Who they're loaning to are governments, okay, and of course individuals. So you have 50 trillion in the United States, let's say, of personal debt, the people owe, and then you got at least 14 trillion, let's say, when you add Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the losses they're going to take, you're talking probably closer to 20. But anyway, trillion that the government owes. And these numbers come out to huge. When you add this stuff up, the amount of debt that each working individual is liable for in taxation, it's a huge number. So now the key thing too is, so that's where this income is being generated from. The government's doing the spending thing, and the money's ending up, eventually a big piece of it is ending up doing this grow the rich man stuff pile thing. He's gleaning an interest profit off all this borrowing. So this is now his new. He might be making more money off this than he's making off of this. So the productive enterprises might be a small percentage of what his income is. And the problem is that this stuff isn't taxed at the same rate that real work is taxed. So a worker, he's going to pay payroll taxes, with unemployment insurance, Social Security, all these heavy taxes on every dollar he makes, or most every dollar. And this rich guy isn't going to pay any of that on this dividend money, on this profit money. And he's only going to pay at a rate of 15 to 20% at most. And so the worker's going to be paying at 35 to 40%, and the rich guy's only paying 15 to 20%. So not only is the working man not getting any of part of this, he's not getting any of this free money from some capitalist enterprise or from loaning money, and he's doing all this work and paying the higher tax rate. And here, this guy whose stuff pile is growing, he's getting richer and richer and richer, and he's paying at half the rate that the worker's paying in taxes. And so this can inevitably is going to lead to this rich guy getting richer, because the working man, there's no way he's ever going to catch up, because he's paying a higher rate in taxes. So this is where the whole thing really went wrong. It's exactly the opposite. This easy money from capitalist enterprise and from lending money, this is just easy money. You just sit on your ass and collect the interest. This should be taxed at a higher rate, not a lower rate. I mean, certainly not a lower rate. It should be at least an equal rate, if not, but it should theoretically be a higher rate, because you want to discourage these mountains. You don't want to create these mountains. You don't want 1% of the population owning 90% of your enterprise. I mean, that's just stupid to think that that's productive, to turn everybody into a renter. You know, renters don't take care of their property. Renters don't give a fuck. They have nothing to invest in. They're discouraged and depressed. Why would you do that to your economy? Why would you do that to 90% of your economy? To give it less incentive, less motivation, less give a damn, turn everybody into some kind of hourly employee who couldn't give a fuck about the customer, couldn't give a fuck about the company, just cares about maintaining, just doing whatever it has to do to survive. So you get lousy customer service, you get employees who don't give a damn about knowing their own jobs, because why should they care? They're not getting paid anything reasonable for their work. They can get the same job anywhere. They can walk out tomorrow and get another job being a peon. So this is a stupid, idiotic, moronic economic system. We do not need mountains. Okay, what we want is lots of people having incentive to make their stuff pile go from that to that. But we do not need this monstrous giant wealth engine thing. This is totally destructive. This ownership of the economy by this tiny percentage of people is the problem. And the point I want to make again is this renter argument. You don't want to convert everybody in your economy into a renter. It's just stupid. That's futile. And that's why this is futile. Because just think about it. Not only is the worker paying taxes, but again, he has to pay this interest. He has to pay this tax basically on commerce that is the stockholder's entitlement to profit. So he's paying all these loafers out of his paycheck. So why should he have an incentive to work? At the same time, he's being obligated to compete with some Chinese guy that's half starving and willing to do anything for a buck. And so this is why the economy will fail, because these workers can no longer finance this excessive debt. Because you have to understand too that once this is created, this interest engine, more stuff comes in and more stuff goes out as IOUs again. So it just keeps coming in and going out as an IOU, coming in, going out as an IOU. And so if we're with each one of those transactions, those debt transactions, there's more entitlement, more money for nothing, more surplus generated profit. And that's stealing the whole value of the economy. All the value of the economy is being siphoned into the king's coffer, so to speak. And so nobody in the economy, everybody's futile. Everybody just gives up and says the hell with it, because there's no enterprise anymore. There's no willingness to invest in anything, because there's no return for the investment that the worker makes. So anyway, enough of an argument. But Nick's not going to deal with this problem. The fundamental problem is the rich have gotten too rich. They own too much of the economy. They own too much of our lives. They owe us. We owe hundreds of thousands of dollars to these people. We are all broke. We're all destitute. And we're just not wearing the shirt that says it, but we are theoretically destitute. They have all of our money. Get with it. Understand the problem. Point your finger at the problem. Okay? And it's Richie Rich fucker. Oops, I said fucker. Well, too bad. Anyway, till next time.